Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, dude.
Hey.
We're just gonna edit this out, so we're good.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this airs on Halloween.
Oh, all right, yeah.
It's a movie, but it's also a scary movie. Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. Anyway, so tell me when you're ready.
Oh, it's scary, all right.
Ooh.
You could call it a mind fuck.
Everybody got fucked. Rather, everyone was born. Yet again. We'll talk about. So tell me when you're ready, though.
Can we not talk about it and say we did? Yeah, I'm ready.
This is the podcast. We just cut it. Like, what the fuck? It was like a minute long?
Exactly.
All right. So, 3, 2, 1. Hey, guys. This is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with the other host.
The guy who needs mind bleach desperately, Tristan Walter.
Many of us do, and it's usually in our day-to-day lives, but now it has to do with the movie that we just watched, the movie that we're talking about today for our Halloween special, of Those Guys on the Radio. Now, some people might say, Matt, did you just pick a somewhat scary movie sequel just to kind of throw in randomly for Halloween haphazardly? And you can't prove jack. But, well, because you came back. The thing is, you came back from mining dinosaur bones on the moon, and then we did Doctor Who Wednesday. Who Wednesday. We've recorded another Keikaku Corner, so that'll be coming out soon on our Those Guys on the Radio YouTube channel. So we've done that, but when it comes to podcasting, even though Doctor Who Wednesday is a podcast, but still, when it comes to doing stuff like this, I haven't gotten you back yet. So this is being recorded in advance. So this is not being recorded live on Halloween, but. So I sat there and I was like, well, what can we do? Because I don't want to stress you out because you just got back, and also, we're doing Keikaku Corner, so it's kind of like, well, what can I? Because that's on video as well. So it's like, what can I get? What can we do that's kind of quick? And it's not like a full series or like 6 episodes of Attack on Titan or something. What can we do? And then I thought about Rasen, which Rasen, it means spiral in English. And a Rasen is the quote-unquote true sequel to The Ring, or Ringu, if you will, the Japanese version of The Ring. Now, when I say true sequel, some of you out there might be a little bit confused. Tristan probably is also confused as well. Basically, this movie was released at the exact same time, literally the same day, as Ringu in Japanese theaters. Why, you might ask?
Was it a double feature?
You could argue that. I don't know if they aired them back-to-back, though, so maybe there's a reason. That's one of the reasons why this movie wasn't as popular. I think there's a few reasons plot-wise it might not be as popular, but I do wonder if the fact that, all jokes aside, right, you're releasing 2 movies on the same day, I think it's an interesting concept, but unless it's based off of a very popular IP, I don't think that's going to work sales-wise. Now, here's an interesting thing, though, that I didn't know that I think we did not mention, even though we've done a few different Ring podcasts, because we've talked about Ringu, the original Japanese movie, not the novel, but the movie. Then we talked about the Ring TV special, which the Japanese TV special resembled the novel more than the movie did. And then we talked about the sequel to Ringu 2, but that has nothing to do with Rasen.
Right.
In any way. So that was its own thing made after Rasen, obviously because both of those came out on the same day. So Ringu 2 came out in 99, if I remember correctly. And it came out in 99 as a way for either 99 or 2000, and it was a way for them to go, okay, Rasen did not work. But Ringu Ringu was so popular as a film, not just a novel, let's see what we can do to make it work. And that's why you can tell that Ringu 2 has so many supernatural elements like the original film did, that both novels did not, clearly, from the looks of their adaptations. There were supernatural elements. Obviously, they were supernatural, don't get me wrong. But when you look at the Ringu TV special, you look at Rasen, and you look at us discussing or you hear us rather, listening to the podcast, you hear us discussing the differences between the Ring movie and the Ring novel, and you realize that they really upped the supernatural elements for the second film, the one that kind of tied a bit more closely to the Ring movie, and kind of strayed away. There was still some pseudoscientific stuff in the second film. There definitely was, don't get me wrong. But they strayed away from some of the stuff that maybe they thought didn't work. Maybe some Japanese fans were like, why did the boy have to die? And they were like, okay, write that down. Like, I do wonder... I do wonder if they actually heard people's opinions, maybe critics or just general public going, but why, though, for certain plot elements? And they wrote them out because there are certain things in this movie that I do think do resemble Ringu 2, and this movie feels like, even though this is based off the original novel, a bit closer than Ringu, actually a lot closer than Ringu 2 is, but it does feel like this is a prototype for Ringu 2.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain things that you're like, oh, yeah, that's in Ringu too. But then there's other things you're like, oh, that did not make the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, before I throw this over to you, I do want to ask you, just right off the bat, between Rasen and Ringu 2, which one do you prefer? Because I think I know where I lean, and it's interesting, but I think I know where I lean. What about you?
Well,
It's a hard choice, right? Because both had flaws.
Yeah. It's funny, it's been a while since I've seen Ring 2, but...
Same. I read it. I read the summary. Go back and read the summary while we're talking about it. That's what I did, too.
If I have to choose, I don't think Ring 2 scarred me as much as this one did, as Rasen, the Spiral did.
That's fair. For me, it's rough because, okay, so I always want to go for the more authentic experience. And authentic meaning an adaptation of the novel.
Yeah.
That's the more authentic experience, right? Like, if you had a choice between, oh, this is a novel that I read or a novel that I heard was really good, and someone said this is the version that's the closer adaptation, and this one takes it in a completely different direction, you just assume that one is shit.
Yeah, that's usually the assumption. Although
and
I have to admit, sometimes a movie will do things a little bit better than a book. Here and there, it happens.
And I think we may have found that here.
Oh, yes. Most
definitely.
And it's horrifying.
Yes. No. It's scary, but I think the problem and the reason why I have usually we try to just review a movie on its own and not necessarily connect it to the one previous, but looking at Ringu 1 and 2 and also now with Rasen, they're trying to be so connected that we kind of do have to review them as a cohesive, as like a unit, where we can't just go, that's, like, it's not a new story in the franchise. It's collectively part of, it's part of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's really they're supposed to complement each other in a way. And with the way Ringu was made, with so many supernatural elements, this movie, even though it's more accurate, feels out of place. And I think that might be why it is less popular than Ringu 2, or also Ringu as well. Regardless of what you think about a proper adaptation or not, with what Ringu did, making it very much supernatural and very little pseudoscience. Yeah. And then having a movie like this with a lot of terms that I don't think it would matter what language you're watching it in. If you're watching it in the original Japanese, if you're watching it with subtitles, if you're watching it, if it was like if they made an American adaptation, which yes, they've made American adaptations of Ring, but I don't think they were directly adapted from Rasen. I'm pretty sure after Ring being an adaptation of Ringu, they kind of did their own thing, I believe. Although I've heard Rings take some stuff from Rasen here and there, but that one came out, But that's the pseudoscience stuff. Obviously, they wouldn't fucking take the.
No.
I don't. Rings came out like 2 years ago, Tristan.
Right.
Yeah. It's just very strange. That's the thing. This movie, the movie is very convoluted. And it's sad. And it's sad too because, I try to be real nice talking about some of these movies. Of course, we're going to dig into them if they're really bad or something like that. We'll poke fun and we'll make jokes if need be and stuff like that. But when it comes to a movie like this, I'm happy that they tried to go out of the box in certain ways. But the problem to me is the fact that, and I hate it too because I don't want to make it seem like every movie should be like, the Avengers or some easy to follow plot, for the masses. But the thing is that when it comes to this film versus Ring, like the original Ringu film, we can describe Ringu just by saying there's a cursed videotape. Because the girl died in the well, she needs to be stopped. You could just say those 3 lines, and you summarize the movie, and then you go, oh, that sounds interesting, I want to watch more. Yes, this is a sequel. Yes, it should add more to the myth and more to the lore, but how can you, describe this to someone?
You can't.
you really Even leaving out the end because those are spoilers, still it's just like those characters from the first one are dead. Now the Ring virus is being spread otherwise. Sexy time.
Now there's a virus.
What? Well, there was a virus in the first one. It was always a virus, remember. It's just that it was not it was described as a virus in Ringu. It's just it didn't go it went more supernatural rather than sciencey science.
Yes.
They didn't use as many terms. They used they described it as the Ring virus in if not in Ringu, maybe I'm wrong, but we watched the TV special and they described it as a virus there. So we've heard it as a virus before this movie in some way or another. It's just that, if they didn't describe it in Ringu, then they did definitely in Ringu 2, which, again, that was made to be something completely different, but still, I just think that even before the stuff that clearly scarred you at the end, the kid died, though. I gotta be honest, I don't know much about, the Japanese fan base of this movie or, Japanese fans in general and because, different, cultural differences and things like that. But I feel like no matter who you are, be it in the U.S. if you're watching this or in Japan, if you're watching the first movie and you want to see these characters succeed and win, it feels really shitty. Even though I appreciate it being different, but it's really shitty to watch the second one and have them die off screen.
Yeah. He died anyway.
Yeah. And you and I felt the same thing when the mom died, when Reiko died in Ringu too.
Yeah.
But at the very least, they were like, we got to focus on the boy, though, because we just can't kill him off that quickly into the film. Because, again, you're following their adventures. You're trying to see if they're going to survive this. The first movie ends with this feeling of, maybe they'll survive. And then if you, for some reason, because you loved, Ringu, and you're in Japan at the time, you're like, hey, this one is out the same day. Let's just go right back into a different theater room. Let's pay the ticket price, and let's see Rasen. Let's do a double feature. And then you see this, and you're like, that's not right.
It doesn't feel like anybody won.
And and again, I'm okay with.
I mean, somebody technically won, but we were kind of hoping she would be put to rest and be at peace, and not, infect the entire planet with this horrifying nightmare pseudoscience virus. But
and that's something that And by the way, that's something that I did not like as well. Not even that she won, because again, it's something that's different. So I appreciate different in some way. At least I respect different. My problem is that she was barely in the film. How can you do that? Like, it would be like, remember that movie? Well, you've obviously seen Aladdin, but do you remember the sequel, Return of Jafar?
It's funny. I'm pretty sure I've watched it, but I don't remember.
Right. You don't have to. Because I'm only making I'm making a reference to the name of the film, Return of Jafar. So Jafar is going to be in this. Right. And if I remember correctly, Jafar was in enough of the movie. If I remember correctly. It's also been a very long time for me as well. But I bring it up because could you imagine if it's called Disney's Aladdin Return of Jafar, you're like, oh yeah, Jafar is going to return clearly because this is, or hell, if it was just called Disney's Aladdin 2 and you're like, oh, I don't know who the main villain's going to be, but it's Aladdin, you love Aladdin. All of a sudden Jafar shows up around the end of the film and wins.
Yeah.
That's the issue with this film, I think, is that
would make
you don't know
really awkward.
Yeah, right? Just, where's my son? Here's the thing. He's 6 feet under. Oh, well I think I should go. Like,
I guess
by the way, would you like to shake hands?
Then.
Would you like to shake hands? It's the Midas hand.
Oh my God.
Jafar just turns to gold. It's like, well, avenge my son's murder. That's pretty neat. Pretty sweet.
Honestly, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, right? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. No, but seriously though, right? I just feel like there was no central villain, because if you think it's the virus, if that's the villain, then all right, let's have them try to fight the virus. But then to have Sadako kind of weasel her way back into this, it might read better. As prose, it might actually read better. But watching it as a film, it just doesn't work.
Right.
So, and again, tell me, some of the stuff that you may have not liked, or that you may have liked, to be fair, because there is some stuff that I did enjoy in the film, obviously. I loved the cameos. I like that we brought some characters back, because if they were filmed, or if they were released the same day, you're going to expect to see the same characters in some capacity. So I did like seeing Ryuji up until the shitty twist, but I liked seeing Ryuji. I like seeing Mai, because it makes sense that these characters are still around. Like, the shit had just happened that same day in canon.
Right, yeah.
Or, like, the day after,
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad for the continuity that was there and that the actors were also all the same, but... Yeah.
But still, so then tell me what you didn't like, because you're talking about what's been scarring you. But like, what did you just not like, or are the two one and the same?
Well, I mean, just how Sadako comes back, and the fact that they delved into. Like, I'm not really a fan of the whole virus thing. I was much more pleased with, like, the supernatural and that it was a curse. And I know you'd mentioned, like, they talked about it as a virus earlier on, and I probably just forgot that, but I don't know. They may have not. Maybe.
That's the thing. They may have not in the first Ringu, but they may have in subsequent. They did in subsequent other things that we've talked about, so they have called it the Ring virus. But you're right, I don't believe in Ringu they may have called it that, which is why you're sitting here. And even if they did call it that in the first one, even if they did outright, there were so many more supernatural elements with the film that it came off as an interesting psychological horror with supernatural elements.
Right.
And now it delved into, all right, let's look at let's, doctor, diagnose this. It looks like you've been cursed. Ah, interesting.
Interesting. That can't be right. We need a scientific explanation for this.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That is scientific explanation. Get a call from your doctor. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're cursed. Should I...
You have 7 days to...
Should I call any... No, should I call anyone that I've been with? Probably. They might be your daughter. Click. What?
Oh, my God.
No, but all jokes aside, though...
Should I call anyone I've been with? Oh, my God, you've been with someone? I mean, it kind of happened fast. No, you don't understand. Oh my God, what? I don't even know what to tell you.
When did it happen? About 6 days ago. You'll be fine.
Oh, crap. I mean, you'll be fine, but they are, they are.
How about about 6 days ago? 59... 59 hours? Oh, yeah, they'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry
good.
about it.
They're good.
You probably shouldn't call them or ever visit them again. Why, Doctor? Click.
Click. Yeah, because that's the way I look at it is we made jokes. I'm pretty sure we had to have made a joke during The Ring talking about it. The genre went from, hey, we need a spirit detective to, all right, we might need to talk to Blackjack. This has become a medical drama. They're like the Team Medical Dragon here, like that cast and crew, because we might need them. This shit's getting real. So
we need to assemble the best doctors that there have ever been. All right, somebody get me the guy from Scrubs. Somebody get me House. Let's see, how many other? Get me Grey's Anatomy. Who else do we got?
I love the phrase "the guy from Scrubs" only because I imagine JD walking around I feel like I'm being watched. just Sadako's eye.
Oh God. I just wanted to be obligatory. It could be anyone from the cast of Scrubs.
Is there something wrong, newbie? Yeah, I watched this videotape 7 days ago, and I kind of have, I think it's heartburn. It just collapses.
Oh, no.
No, but, yeah, so you don't you really dislike the medical aspect based on so is it based on what the first one was, or just in general you would never want there to be do you feel like you've been blindsided? Is that the issue, or is it just...
That was the weird thing. For about half the movie, I like the idea of him trying to investigate this medically. But once he found out, watching the videotape, I'm going to die, this curse is real, I'm like, okay, no, that's good. That's part of the course. Let's keep this up. It's no, it's not the videotape. It's a virus, and we can figure out something, and... Then it just kind of all snowballed and really went downhill really quickly for me.
So, yeah, I actually don't care about that. What I care about, here's where I become lost, and it's frustrating. When it's the movie isn't the only way it can be spread. Really now? Yes.
Yeah,
even through descriptions of Sadako. Come on now. Really? If I'm describing Sadako now, it's that shouldn't be able to kill Tristan. Me sending him a jump scare with Sadako should be able to kill Tristan.
Oh
That's
God.
what the tape would be, by the way, now. If you were just online, it would be a jump scare.
Oh, God, you're right.
By the way, another thing, too, I'm sure you may have noticed this as well. While the Ring videotape looks different in every movie, and I'm fine with that, my problem is that this isn't like the Ring TV special. Going from the first Ring to Rasen, because I don't remember if the tape looked different from Ring to Ring 2. I think it was abridged, but it was the same exact tape, if I remember correctly. But in this one, there was a difference because you saw the well, you saw the dad push her in the well, and then it jumps right to, our main character getting touched and groped by Sadako, and I'm sitting there, and the only thing I can think is, so is this tape, like, why does it feel like every time we see this tape, it's getting a special edition, like it's a fucking Star Wars movie? Like, every time we look at this tape...
Do not drag Star Wars into this.
I'm sorry, but every time I look at one of these tapes, I'm just like, can we just get Lucas out of the editing room? Because there's a fucking Wookiee in the background that wasn't there the first time.
Jesus Christ.
And they retouched up Sadako's makeup. What are you doing? No, because every single adaptation is a little bit different. And again, I get it, but in this case, it's like this is an actual sequel to the tape. Why does the tape look different? Certain clips were similar, but there was that one at the end, and I'm like, why is the tape changing up? Granted, they said that some of the tape was taped over, but the well wasn't the taped over part, I imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, unless... It's just weird. Also, her on top of him. It was like the TV special, which is also strange, too, because it seems like what they did was, in certain ways, the TV special, again, was a more proper adaptation of the original Ringu novel. So you look at this movie, and it seems like this movie was trying to add in stuff. Like, this movie felt like someone who was a fan, right, of the novels, learned what Ringu was doing to their precious novels, and we're like, yeah, well, I'm going to write in all the stuff that you left out, and also the stuff from the second novel, and it's going to be really cool. Do you see what I mean? Because there's certain stuff that was clearly left out of the first Ringu, like the weird stuff with Sadako being... actually being because in this film they talked about her traveling to Tokyo for acting, and I was like, I thought she was trapped in the well since like forever. Granted, some of that stuff may have been brought up in the second Ringu, and that's why it's burned in our memory, but I'm pretty sure with the first Ringu, they still made it seem like, her dad did that to her at a young age.
Yeah.
Not that she was able to grow up enough to go to Tokyo to pursue an acting career.
Yeah, exactly.
So it really does feel like they kind of rewrote some stuff. And I do wonder if that also is the reason why this one might not be as popular, perhaps. Because let's say, like I said earlier, someone did go see both. They did have the money to go see both. Or they got it on VHS or something like that. They see it, and they're just like... This feels like it's, in some ways, rewriting what I knew from the one that just showed in theaters that I also have on VHS. Like, why do I want... Yeah. So I do wonder if that is also a thing as well. And I also think another thing that, again, it's an interesting take, and I do love twist turns and twist endings in some ways. So that's why, sometimes I'm upset with what Shyamalan does, but other times I actually really enjoy it. At least for the general twist, I'm like, that was actually interesting, despite me thinking it was a bit off compared to the general narrative. Because we talked about Shyamalan movies on 12 Nights of Shyamalan for Halloween in July. But Tristan, the Ryuji twist is something that is so out of nowhere. That
and out of character.
That's that's what it seems like, because I understand I understand the idea of, not that I don't like my kid, but I feel like I birthed the child into the wrong world, or I feel like my powers shouldn't be passed on, so I've made a mistake. Not the boy is a mistake, but I've made a mistake. Kids just sitting there really don't see a distinction, Dad. But but still, that's the distinction that Ryuji makes. In this case, however, in this set of films, it seems as if the idea is, yes, I would love to be reborn. I don't care about anything else, about humanity. I just want to live. But I'm not going to bring my boy back because I don't want a boy to be brought. I don't think a child deserves to be brought into this world right now. You mean the world that you've created? Stop talking. Like,
it's la 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 la. I'm not listening.
It's just so strange that's his
shit. Like, it's like,
what?
Oh, your wish was granted. You got your child back. It's like, you're a terrible father. I would never bring a child into this world. You just look. Did you just fuck? What did you just say to me? No.
That, and then it's just something that it just, like, I have to say, it just doesn't make sense. Like, there's certain things in certain movies that you're like, oh, it doesn't make sense, but maybe that was, like, entertaining or that was funny or something, but it just doesn't make sense. And
No.
I don't think it's because we just don't get film. It's like, oh, we're not getting the deeper meaning. It just did not seem like it made sense.
Did not jive.
Like,
no. And poor
what
Maya,
was that?
Jesus. Or Mia.
Poor her. Because it's just something that, oh, and by the way, I will admit, earlier in the movie they talked about cloning. So, like, to be fair, they were setting it up. To be fair, they were setting some weird shit like that up. But it's odd because the way they describe it, at the end, they don't describe it as cloning. They describe it as, we're using your womb and then, the curse virus as well as sperm. So literally Ryuji was like, hey, take care of your kid because he's technically my brother. And I'm like, could we just stop all of this right now? Can we just pause this? Like, and that's the thing. I think if that end was changed, like, I don't even care about Sadako winning, to be real with you. But if the end was changed where either Ryuji didn't have this turn or his turn could be explained properly, because it seems like from what we've gotten from Ryuji, it's from both movies, this is a truly odd turn that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, because it seemed like from the
whole thing made me feel violated.
Yeah. And I have to say, I'm pretty sure in the novel, if I remember correctly, you and I talked about this, Ryuji was a lot more of a dick. So I think novel Ryuji, this actually makes sense, because we talked about this. Novel Ryuji was a lot different than first movie, I'm a family man, but, like, I have problems with the boy. Seriously, Dad, I have a name. I have problems with the boy. But but more so, my problem is with...
It's still my family. Yes. I'm going to help them.
Exactly. Like, I don't want him to grow up without a mom, which he literally said out loud. So, like, it made sense in, and another thing, too, like, if there was just an inkling of, like, oh, his powers have been used inappropriately because he died, like, that happens all the time in movies. This idea of, like, oh, death has corrupted you, or, oh, bringing him back from the dead really left a screw loose because he was dead. There's certain things here and there, but, like, it seems as if from this novel, rather from this film, Ryuji was planning this from the get-go. Like, hey, if I die...
right at all.
Yeah, like, I'm going to kill you. Okay, how about I live? And I bring back your wife and kid. Oh, no. In fact, can you kind of be my girlfriend? I don't understand. Neither will the viewing audience. But can you... Because that's basically what it is. It's just like, it's like Sadako has been reborn inside Mia, who, by the way, also used to be my girlfriend, which, did you sleep with? I did not sleep with her. Then how was I made? How is she made? How is he made? Look, I need to go. Like, it's just... And another thing, too, I would like to say is, again, I know it's cliche, I know it happens in all these different movies, but still, the idea of the main character overcoming his issues, it's just something that you see in a lot of narratives, but it's just something that gives you hope that you could do it too, I guess, if you want to argue. But it's just such a strange, bleak outlook where it's just like, yeah, so my son is back God knows if he's even really kind to my son, but whatever. We'll get to that later. By the way, did you not want to bring your wife back? No. Fuck her. And so my son's back. Granted, I don't know if they ever acknowledged maybe the wife left him after the son died, perhaps, because I thought they both died, the wife and kid. But in the movie, it seemed like only the kid died.
Yeah.
So to be fair, maybe the wife is still around somewhere, which that won't be odd. Is that our boy? Not exactly, sweetie. You should sit down. I've had sex with dead people. Anyway, what?
Oh, you smell like a dead body.
Wait, no. Before we get to that, I want to just my joke. No, my joke hasn't ended yet for one reason. Oh my God, you work at the morgue. No. It's actually weirder than that. It's actually weirder than that.
God. So you know that ghost we were investigating and we thought we helped put to rest? Apparently not.
No. Okay, well now I have to explain everything to you.
Oh, God.
But anyway, here's one thing. Wait, no, actually, before I even say anything, I would like to throw it over to you. What was the biggest scare for you? Because I feel like, yes, the supernatural elements were down, but was there still something that was very unnerving and scary that you haven't mentioned yet?
Well, like I said, it was still unnerving. I don't know if I would call it scary. It was just more of disturbing at that point.
Was her saying you smell like a dead body?
Mindfuck.
Oh, okay. No, because I'm wondering is it the you smell like a dead body, or is it the whole so I was reborn in her body, which by the way was done through you. So, because for me that is terrible. Don't get me wrong; it's
all
very
those
creepy.
That you just said.
But I have
make
to
me
say
feel like
though,
I need to scrub myself in bleach.
I'm not saying that I don't feel the same, but I think what was worse, Matt. How is it worse? Let me explain. The beginning when Ryuji's dead body gets up and is being worked like a goddamn puppet and is literally saying you can't even kill yourself right. I'm like, holy shit, because we don't even know why the dad would want to, the main character would want to do that yet, because we don't know about the son yet. So for me, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Ryuji. And I didn't know if it was like Ryuji or like Sadako through Ryuji or what. So I was kind of sitting there like, I wonder what that is. And it was just a strange thing. Like, it was just me sitting there like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm fucking freaking out. Because I think you would if you're watching it. You even mentioned to me, you're like, I'm eating my chicken, I'm cutting my chicken, and there's an autopsy. Woo fucking who.
You think I would have learned not to eat dinner while I was, watching these horror movies for this podcast, but, stupid me.
Normally, I'd agree with you, but actually, you're not stupid. And here's why. The original Ringu, never had a scene like that.
True.
Even I think Ringu 2 started off in the morgue, sure, but Ring never, it never had a scene like that in it. So, yeah, I would, if I told you we're watching a Shyamalan movie, I'd understand if you kind of, took a napkin, put it on your mouth a little bit, kind of put the napkin down, and you were like, what kind of Shyamalan movie, Matt? Is this a I leave my dinner for later Shyamalan movie? Or is this a nah, I'm good Shyamalan movie? What kind of Shyamalan are we getting today, Matt? I need to know if my lunch is staying down. But yeah. Here's something I want to mention. In the novel, it's actually mentioned that so when we see Mia again, and she is clearly different. She's dressed differently, and she's saying weird shit to our main character, to Ando. So in the novel, we learn that when he meets this person, he meets her at a crime scene, And this person says, "Oh, I'm actually It's actually not Maya. It's not Mia. It's Maya. I'm Maya's older sister."
Okay.
Which makes sense though, because like I gotta be real, you should know that she's acting kind of fucking weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that is a sign that you said this to me via text, and you were 100% right. That's a red flag. Which, by the way, the reason why I said I was telling you because I haven't seen this movie in 5 years. In fact, I may have never finished this movie. I thought I did, but I may never have. No, because this twist was kind of surprising to me, but it sort of wasn't at the same time. It was weird. All I know is that when you said it's a red flag, I was like, she's possessed by Sadako, and the reason why is because Kayako from The Grudge also can, at least in the first two, The Curse 1 and 2, like that was before it was like Ju-on The Grudge. Ju-on, the Japanese version, she could sort of possess people in similar ways. So I'm watching this with you, or I'm watching this in general, and you're like, that's a red flag, and I'm like, she's possessed. That's why I'm like, Tristan, please stop talking, because I think I'm seeing what's happening.
I'm like, no. And it's just like, no, Matt, you don't understand.
Yeah, Ryuji was the one that confused me. But to be fair, Sadako possessing her in that way, I saw it coming after you said it was a red flag. Because, again, I saw it through Ju-on the Curse's eyes. Because, again, it happened there. So I'm like, I think this is what's going on. But anyway, here's the thing, though, Tristan. What I was trying to get at, though, was yes, I didn't see Ryuji coming necessarily, but I'm stalling. I forgot what I was going to say. Tristan, the ball's in your court now. What do you want to say?
Are you sure you saw, her possessing Maya, like, coming in the way that it was presented? Because
yes,
I did not.
I did only when you said it was a red flag, because I was like, that's not Maya.
Yeah, well, no. And the idea, it's like, okay, it's not Maya, but, like, the idea of how she possessed Maya.
Yes, only because of the fact that they were like, apparently she gave birth and the fetus is missing. And my thought was, that fetus is Sadako. And then when we see, but like then. Okay, so when you said, because it happened in that order, where it's like, this is a red flag from you, and I'm like, that means that's Sadako. Oh my God, that's her dead body. Oh, that fetus is missing. And I was like, fetus equals Sadako, which is not an equation I've ever wanted to do in my life. But what I was talking about, though, I was talking about the novel and how we learn that she pretends to be Maya's older sister, but it's only funny to me. It's Matt, this is not funny in any way. No, but Tristan, it is funny. Because here's the thing. The one thing that I'll say that at least that makes sense with the movie, while she was acting different, which was odd, at least he's thinking still in his head, this is the Maya that I was just intimate with. I will be intimate with her again. In the novel, he meets her. She says, I'm Maya's older sister. And do you know what he does? He has sex with her, too. So literally, he just meets her older sister at a crime scene. And he's like, it's erection time. It's just like, wait, what? Why is this happening? Like, I mean, again, as pros, maybe they talked a little bit more. Maybe there was something there, because I'm reading a summary of the book. I have not read the book. The book is available, though, through Vertical. They have them both licensed. I assume they're still in print. But so maybe written down. There's more depth. But just from reading a summary, it's like they met at a crime scene. They made love, and I'm like, what? Nani the fuck? So this, in a way, this makes more sense. Again, not so much because you're like, she's not the Maya that I know, but also I do want to have this is granted, again, that's a very weird thing to hear. Like you'd have to sit there and be like, I'm not continuing this. after we have sex. Like,
Yeah.
Matt, you're saying it's still going? No, it is going to still go, but then after that, no more. Just excuse me, you can pack your things and leave. It's like, we did it. Oh, no, we did. But now that we're done, you can pack your things and go.
Oh, my God.
It's like, why did you wait? It's like, well, because it took me a while to realize it's kind of rude to say that I smell like a dead body.
I didn't actually think about that until now, but
it's just kind of rude. It's not like a red flag because she liked it. Oh, I guess it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of rude. But seriously though, all jokes aside, I think it was interesting to show the flashback scenes. I liked that. Those were already filmed, of course, but it was still interesting to show Reiko and to show Ryuji's flashback scenes, especially through the eyes of his former lover and having her try to cope with this. Again, it started off promising, I think.
Right, yeah. Exactly. I thought so too.
Which is why originally my thought was, it must be because it was released the same day. That must be why the film didn't do so well. But I think it's just the film in this case. And again, if some say, but it's really close to being an adaptation of the novel, like really close, because from what I've read, it seems relatively close, minus a few things here and there, then, yeah, it might just be the novel too. I hate to say that. I still want to read the novel because I want to see what the hell's going on.
I mean,
like after what? Oh no, because like after seeing this movie, what?
What the hell? Like, I don't know how to word this correctly, but like,
what?
Who the hell wrote this? Like, it's usually for me, it's very interesting to hear the phrase, "Yeah, the book is way more fucked up than the movie." Wait a minute, what?
I think, well, here's the thing, right? I'll say it like this. I think that Ringu was so different, perhaps, than maybe what was out at the time, not even the movie, referring to the novel, that it just was very, because I got to be real with you, as much as we felt weird about the Ringu TV special, it was different and it's somewhat interesting. But I think looking at a sequel to that, that's when things start to break down, where it's like, I feel like you can do different and weird and out there once, and I know we still had problems with the TV special. We did. But I think doing that once is okay. It's trying to do that again and continuing that weirdness into this, that it's just like, I don't know, man. And also another thing, you know what I think, though, that might be ruining it for you as well, and maybe I'm wrong, and that's, you should apologize. Maybe I'm wrong. How would you feel differently if this was an anime? Do you think it being
still completely fucked up and convoluted?
No. I'm not saying it's not fucked up, but I'm saying that it being a live action medium, do you think that seeing real people discussing this shit changes anything for you? Because we've seen some weird shit in anime form. Because I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm saying we've seen some weird shit that we accept as an anime. Even putting aside the fact that like this, because I'm not saying this movie was like, this movie had a lot of issues, but the stuff that we find weird about it, like the weird stuff, if it was anime, would we just be like, okay, it's fucking weird, but it's anime? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think I'd still feel the same.
Okay. Now I'm wondering, I'm like, Tristan, has he seen weird anime? Like, how weird is Tristan gone? That's my thought now. Like, how weird is... but
I mean, I've seen a bit of Junji Ito, so that's pretty damn weird.
Well, actually, shit. Oh, did you see so you've seen the anime collection? The Junji Ito collection?
No, but I've seen, a friend of mine was reading it, and she showed me some of the stuff she was reading through, and I was like, oh.
What's funny is, I'm thinking of who this could be, and if this is who I think it is, I'm sure she was so happy to see the look on your face.
Oh, she was delighted.
God, I love Junji Ito. So much fun. So fucking creepy. I would argue that Junji Ito is creepier than this and weirder than this in certain ways. That's the thing too. Like, granted, I think that, like, because for me, it's not even the weird stuff. It's just the stuff that I think didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Again, like Ryuji's turn, not having lacking a big villain, dropping all of the supernatural elements. It's kind of like I feel as if this movie may have been quote unquote better in a way if it had followed up a more what's it called, a better adaptation. I'll just say a better adaptation of the Ringu novel. Even if we don't like it, I think it would have been a better follow-up because it just doesn't feel like it's connecting to the Ringu film in any way. Not in any way. Of course, the characters were there and the general plot points were there, but we mentioned it earlier. It's like, how did you feel when you? Because I didn't get the chance to ask you this. How did you feel when we found out that Reiko and Yoichi are just dead? We see Yoichi's bloody arm off the fucking the gurney. Yeah, like what?
It was like that. It was like that time that Donna turned right instead of left, and then you see the doctor die in that episode where she first meets him, and you just see his hand come out from under the stretcher and drop the screwdriver.
Yeah. No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, actually, and funnily enough, it's literally that because it's the difference between turning left and right. So it's literally 1-to-1, the exact same thing. That's kind of funny. It's pretty much. So it's just it hurts because like I think this movie actually had potential, and I think it's just something where the novel, because Ringu was very popular, but I just feel like the novel, the movie as well, of course, both in Japan and the U.S. But I think that the second one just had, like, it's always, because here's the thing, too. There's another thing about just sequels in general, right? Think of a sequel, Tristan. Any of you listening in, think of a sequel. Usually, they are standalone stories based, like, using the main characters from the first one, maybe adding in some new characters, maybe giving some side characters more backstory and prominence, but usually it is focusing on the main characters. It would be odd to have a sequel to Austin Powers where, like, Austin Powers dies and someone who was in the first movie becomes the main character. But it was there was no indication in the marketing that they would be dead.
Right.
Like, the main villain is still Dr. Evil, but there was no indication in the marketing that, like, Austin Powers would be murdered.
Yeah.
But we end up having a movie where it's like, oh, where did Austin Powers go? It's called Austin Powers, or it's something like that. It's like that's the way I look at it. Like, just think of a sequel, and it just like no one ever likes off-screen deaths. I've never heard one person say, you know what, I liked the fact that off-screen death happened.
Yeah.
The characters that we enjoyed, that we kind of really we learned more about them, and we learned they were very in-depth characters, and I grew attached to those characters, and they died off screen, and then the movie came on. It was great.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard a good thing about that. And also another thing as well is the fact that it's just like, because looking at Jurassic Park 2, right? Jurassic Park 2, yes, they kind of did the whole, oh, yes, Grant isn't around, and now we're going to focus on Malcolm. But they didn't murder Grant.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking depressing. Just halfway through the movie. Oh, Grant was here before us, and where's Grant? And we just see a fucking arm next to a T-Rex footprint. Like, holy shit, he stepped on Grant. He's been murdered. Like, that would
The really funny thing is, I just read the book for that, too, on my trip, like on the plane rides.
The first one or the second one?
Book. No, the first one.
Yeah, Malcolm died, right?
Yeah, he, yeah, I think at the
I'm
very
pretty sure.
end.
Yeah, and then they brought him back in the second one because Universal, I'm pretty sure, Universal made Jurassic Park. Universal and Spielberg were like, hey, how about you maybe write a second book? Maybe you make some more money out of it, write a second book? I don't know, maybe? And then they did, or rather the author did, and then they made a movie that had nothing to do with his book.
Yeah.
But still, the point though is that at least, like in his case, he didn't want to write a second book. I'm not going to say that the author of these books did not want to write a second one, but I just think that in some cases, sometimes authors just don't have the like. There's just something that doesn't really like. There's a certain touch, a certain magic, even if you don't like it necessarily. Like, you don't like the first Ringu novel, only from what we've seen from the TV special, but still. It's like there were some things that were off about it, but there was still a certain something about it that people clearly latched onto. But it seems like they did not latch on to Rasen. And to be fair, like I mentioned earlier, I have no idea if the novel did well. But again, looking at it as an adaptation, clearly it didn't do, like the movie did not do as well. Now, there is a TV adaptation that I would love to look at only because I think that this story would work a lot better on television, being able to maybe get some depth to it, because I think that also ruined this movie as well, as the fact that in an hour and 30 minutes, we have to have this guy going around just, looking into this virus, meeting up with reporters, finding out that this virus can be spread in another way and there's another strain of it. That strain causes a cough. Then we find out that, like, all this stuff here and there that we have to find out kind of being thrown at us with very little explanation here and there. I do feel, and then when we do get explanation, by the way, it is the biggest science jargon, like the most science jargon I've ever seen. Like, I saw more jargon here than I do in an episode of House or Scrubs, I feel. Maybe I'm the crazy one here.
At least in House,
but
actual medical jargon and not pseudoscience medical jargon.
I mean, it's still a TV show, to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, what I mean is that, like, it's a TV show in the sense that, like, it's just one of those things where, House is, like, the one person that comes in. By the way, it's actually that thing. Oh, my God. Like, it's still a TV show. But it isn't this, though. Like, at no point is going to be like, it is actually the videotape. House. No way. And then that person dies. Yeah, so... And another thing as well is, like, I understand the idea that, we want people to experience Sadako's pain. I do get it. But it's just strange that, like, everyone becomes Sadako in the end.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, no, but, like, when I say that, I mean, like, I just don't get where that's going. Looking at it from the movie's perspective, it's just like, okay, so everyone becomes Sadako because they get cursed. No, it's like, so wait, is everyone going to die from the curse then, or are they going to become Sadako? Because the idea is, it can actually get, spread by even, like, by bodily contact. It's like, wait, so is everyone going to die?
What?
Like, I know you wanted your son back, but do you want him to live in a world with no people?
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those weird, and that's the reason why I say, like, there's no, like, it doesn't seem consistent in a way, because, like, I understand the idea of, like, I want to get anything back. In fact, I will doom humanity to do it. I totally get it. It sounds crazy, but, like, I've seen it happen in movies before, and I get it. Like, this will bring my son back to life? All right, I'll murder people or something,
Yeah.
But it would just be odd if it was just like, I will do anything to bring my son back to life. All right, unleash that flesh-eating bacteria. All right, this won't bite me in the ass eventually.
Yeah, right.
So that's what's odd. And also, another thing, too, and I'm sure you noticed this as well, you and I, because of the supernatural elements, you and I have zero issue with Sadako's powers being pretty intense. I admit I think her powers were a bit OP, a bit too overpowered in the first movie and in Ringu 2. I think they were overpowered, but again, there's supernatural elements. We do get it.
Right.
But there's a bit of a difference between that and saying, oh, yeah, no, you're protected by Sadako. That's perfect. You'll never get cursed. And more importantly, you can be brought back from the dead. Is that weird? Should that be weird? It's like, yeah. That should be very fucking weird.
Yes.
Like, and even if you think it's, when I say, like,
it may surprise you.
top list of 15 weird things in the ring. Just all of them are the ring. No. For me, it's this, dude. When I say weird, I don't mean like yes, it's weird, and I don't have a problem with it being weird. I just say weird as in, should that even happen? Like, should that even be able to be a thing for her to do? Like, it just seems like when you see, like, okay, so like Freddy Krueger has like a skill set. Jason Voorhees has a skill set. Michael Myers has a skill set. Sometimes things are added on little bits here and there, and you might not like them, but then they become part of the repertoire as the films go on. But it would just be odd if it was just like, oh my God, look at Jason, and you're like, oh my God, he's flying. No, he can't fucking do that. He doesn't fucking have wings. That's not how it fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can always catch you, which is odd because you almost never see Jason run. You're running, and all of a sudden Jason's behind you, and you're like, how did this motherfucker? So, but it happens, right? But again, that's in his skill set. But what's not in his skill set is flight. You know? Like,
yeah.
It would be odd if Freddy Krueger was just like, I kill you by vaping. No, you fucking don't. What the fuck? You've never done that before. Why would you kill someone that way unless they vaped and you're making a shitty pun? You would be totally would. But, like, Freddy Krueger doesn't kill that way. Michael Myers isn't going to kill you through a Let's Play. That's just not what he does. Also, how would he? I don't know how he even would. Is it like, oh, I'm live on this Let's Play, but really it's pre-recorded and he's actually in your closet? I don't know. But Michael Myers doesn't do that. But Tristan, I'm being serious here through all this because that's how I feel, right? To some people out there, they're like, Matt, that is hyperbole to the max. But what Sadako did to me feels like hyperbole in a way. To the max. So yeah, that's but like what I was going to say to you, I want to like leave things, not that we're going to finish it right this second, but I want to leave things on a good note in some way or another. I want to leave some good thing. What is something you really enjoyed? What is something you watched in this and you were like, that's wonderful, I love it?
I mean,
oh no.
I mean, the autopsy scene was pretty scary.
Yeah, I mentioned that too because the effects, I think, because it really looked like the actor was lying dead on a slab, which for 1998, and I only say 1990. I only say that in the sense that, like, I'm not trying to shit on 1998, but, like, also looking at the fact that just something random. Not that I don't mean to be complaining here, but I just want to note something. Does it look like this movie compared to the first Ring, the budget was a lot less?
I don't know. I guess so.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because we're watching like a VHS copy or something like that. Perhaps that's the reason why. Because, you know, the other ones were we were watching DVD copies of Ring and Ringu 2, so maybe that's just what it is, to be fair. But it looks like this version, like the camera, like it just looked like this one had, like if they looked at both movies and they were like, all right, these got to be released the same exact day, but we're putting all our money on that first one.
Yeah.
Also, something else as well I should mention, different directors for both movies. I'm not shitting on the director of this movie, but it also is another reason why there might seem like there's less cohesion.
Yeah.
Now, again, director doesn't mean writer, to be fair, but still, it does feel like perhaps that might be why The Ring was done the way that it was done. Ringu was done the way that it was done, and then this one is being done the way that it's done. Having different staff on both films, despite them being sequels, and despite it being under the same company, can definitely change a movie drastically. I mean, Tristan, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna say it.
Oh God.
The Force Awakens,
Matt.
and The Last Jedi.
Oh God, what are you doing?
I don't know. Oh God, I spread the virus, but I spread the curse. But you see where I'm coming from, though. Like, even a movie with a franchise like that, having two different directors.
Switching, is kind of a recipe for bad things. Yeah.
I mean, different things. I mean, we didn't hate The Last Jedi. I remember that. Like, no, because we were not in that camp. I remember you saying you really liked The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Like, I liked it for what it did. I appreciate what it did differently.
We're gonna stop the podcast, and he's just gonna need to take some time to cry for Luke again, like all of us need to.
Yeah. I'll be right back, man.
Yeah. Just why did he have to die? He was so young. It's like his beard was like mostly white. He was so young.
Man.
Screaming. He was so young. It's like, all right, I'm sorry. But seriously though, all jokes aside, it does create some different, a different environment, or rather like a different feeling for the movie. And I'm not saying you need to have the same director on like every single sequel. I get it. They're going to be different and stuff like that. But to have one that is so directly connected to the first movie, it's just another thing that I found to be problematic.
Right.
Yeah. So I have to admit, though, I really do want to buy the novels because I do want to see if they're better. I want to see if this works better being written out, because I got to be real with you. Different avenues, I do think, can tell stories, not in better ways, but like in different ways, and they might be able to work better. Like you and I have talked about this before, I believe. Like, because you were talking about how sometimes a movie can do something better than a novel and vice versa. But then, of course, there's some anime out there that people are like, oh my God, I would love to have a live action version of that anime. And you're like, can that really be done in live action though?
Right.
And if it's done in live action, the way it's being done, is it really technically live action? And you might be like, wait, what? The Lion King. Not The Lion King. Lion King is one, yes. And also The Jungle Book. It's like, it's a live action version. Oh, really? You're using real lions and tigers? Like, oh, shit. No, they're all going to be CG. Then it's live action. Well, no, they're going to look really close to the real versions of animals, but they're not. But it's CG. No, it's not going to be CG like animation CG. Okay. Like, that's the thing. So, like, there's certain... Yeah, exactly. So, even something like Attack on Titan, which I've never seen in live-action movies, but with the way the Titans look, and with all the flying around, again, you might think, like, wait, why can't we just have this as an anime? Like, why does it need to be a live action if it's going to be filled with CG? So, in this case, what I'm trying to say is the novel, when written out, when explained fully, when actually going through the science in a certain way, it might not be a bad novel.
Right.
But in movie form, this was confusing. I don't think it worked. It wasn't a good follow-up. And it just did something that I don't think sequels do all that often, and it's really sad that it did this to me. I don't know if it did it to you as well, but what I'm getting at here is for certain sequels, right, when someone says, that sequel ruined the original for me, I'm like, hey, come on, you still got the original. Just act like the sequel doesn't exist. Come on. Right? That's what I usually say. In that exact tone, by the way, with that exact voice. People get very confused. Like, hey, come on. But in this case, though, because it is so directly connected with the original Ring, I do think that it kind of does taint it a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard to detach yourself.
It's a little bit, it's hard. Now, again, you technically could because Ringu 2 also exists.
Right.
So it's a bit, gotta be real, not many movies get alternate fucking, like, choose-your-own-adventure book movies. I mean, I think, like, it is happening a bit more nowadays, funnily enough. Like, Halloween just got one.
Yeah.
Because the Halloween movie...
40th anniversary?
Oh, God, is it? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny because another friend of mine and her mom were watching the 20th anniversary special of the movie, and her mom was like, yeah, now the 40th is coming out. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. No, but the reason why I bring that up, though, is because that new Halloween movie actually disregards every movie past the first one, even the second one. The second one is where it's revealed that Laurie is his sister.
Right.
So that means that as far as this woman knows, this guy came into her neighborhood, came into her house, killed her friends, and then he was just sent back to a mental institution, and he finally got out after all these years. But he never, or like they never like had that connection. Like, oh, that was my brother Michael, and that's why. He was just some dude that did that.
Yeah. Which
is crazy to think about. Like, it is very unfortunate, right? Because, I mean, I don't know if it's better or worse, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it better or worse? I have no idea. But I'm saying is that movie has done it. There are a few in history that have done it, but like usually I'd never see like, oh yeah, this new sequel is going to disregard all previous sequels. Like comic books will do that, but I've never seen a set of movies do that. It's so interesting that with Ring and Ringu it happened so quickly. Where it was like 98. It was like, we're releasing these two the same day. Oh, that sequel didn't work. Well, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just put a 2 after Ringu, and we'll call this one the real sequel. It's so interesting, isn't it? How that actually worked. But yeah. So anyway, anything else you want to say before we wrap this thing up?
No. I think I'm ready to put the spirit to rest back in the well and seal it up with concrete and go back to living my life where I block this movie out of my mind for the rest of my life.
I love the name of the film. I think that's what's sad too. Like having one be Ring and one be Spiral.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
The slow
but now
spiral
we know
and ascent into purgatory as your mind collapses in on itself.
No, it's the DNA strands.
Oh, good God. Yeah. I got that
probably,
at some point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But no, it's rough too, man. Because like again, I've said this over and over. This movie really had potential. It's just, yeah, it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I also want to mention Toho made this movie, and it doesn't show how much the movie made. Sadly, because I really would want to see like how much it made versus its box office numbers versus its budget. But yeah, so either way, I think we can wrap this up. I just want to see if there's like any like big thing where I'm like, but Tristan, there was one really cool thing. Let's see here. Oh, but yeah, her name was Mai. But Ando, I want to see who played Ando because he looks somewhat familiar. Koichi Sato. Who is Koichi Sato? Let's do this. Let's do this right now, Tristan. I want to see if there's like one thing that I'm like, Tristan, he was in this. Tristan, he was in Rasen. If you didn't know, he's also. Let's see. Matt, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? No, because my favorite part of the podcast is always going, oh my God, so and so was in this.
Right. Yeah.
That's my favorite part of that's the one thing that I think would be able to get us through this podcast. I think I was like, did you know that Miki Nakatani, who played Mai, was also in the first Ring movie? Matt, get out. But no, I mean, yeah, I think it's time for us to. I think it's time for us to just. Yeah, right. No, but all jokes aside, I'm happy you guys were here to share this with us. Would I suggest to watch this movie if you're interested by the insanity that certain movies can go down, like that not like, I don't mean spiral as in bad, but like this spiral into madness, you should watch the movie. Because I think it's just one of those, you know what I think it is too, Tristan? I think that this movie was way too serious to get that weird at the end. Because campy, that's the word I'm looking for. Because certain movies have a certain campiness about them. That when they end that way, I think that I can go, oh, that's so fun and that's funny and that works. But I think for the movie to end, that's where I really want to end this on. This is my greatest criticism. The campiness in certain films, I feel like certain endings where it's like, I'm actually a clone, sort of, but not really, of the girl that you loved, and I'm part of you, and I'm part of Sadako because I am Sadako, but I can also be Mai, and also Ryuji's back, haha, because you made him, and also your son again. Like, all that stuff can happen at the end of a movie that's just campy. But because this was like, we are serious, this is all seriously happening right now, so like, why is that weird? Because have you ever seen Little Shop of Horrors?
I haven't, but I know people who've had and who love it.
Damn it, Tristan. That's what we should have done for Halloween. Fuck. So we're getting you to watch that soon. We'll be doing a podcast on that one soon. That one's so much fun. But the reason why I bring it up is because there's an alternate ending. So it was supposed to be the final ending, like the legit ending, but people did not like it, and I was very confused because when I saw it, I found it really funny and hilarious. Aubrey's, is it Aubrey or Audrey? I think it's Audrey's. The plant, feed me, Seymour, feed me.
Right.
That plant actually overtakes it overtakes the world and makes little Audreys, and they all take over the world, but it's these little like stop motion plants kind of overgrowing and overtaking the entire world, and the entire world becomes an Audrey.
Right.
That is funny in context of the way they did the backdrops for the movie. It's also a musical. It's a dark comedy. With all those things that happen with that, with that ending, which again, I really wish they went with it, but fans were like, no, it's a bad ending. I want the two main characters to survive. And I'm like, how about if one of them was a boy that died in the middle of the movie? How would you feel then? But anyway, but seriously though, I would have, that would have been interesting in a movie like this if this movie was a bit more fun, but that's not the take. We're trying to be very serious with this, and I think that's why maybe you've been thrown for a loop so hard, because I'm not saying the ending wasn't shocking and odd, but you really seem thrown for a fucking loop.
Yeah, I was.
So that's the problem, I think. So anyway, thank you all so much for listening in. As always, if you want to listen to all of our podcasts, you can actually go to our Blog Talk Radio account, blogtalkradio.com/thoseguysonthe-radio. You can also find us on iTunes by searching up Those Guys. You won't be able to get all of our podcasts on there, sadly, because we've done so many that I think it only lists like the latest 300 episodes, but still, you can find most of our stuff on there as well for download. Also, you can go to our YouTube channel, Those Guys on the Radio, and find our archived stuff there, along with our show, one of our other shows called Keikaku Corner, where we talk about daily or general weekly news articles, either for anime, comic books, manga. We used to talk about tokusatsu, but now that's moved over to Toku Station on our TG Productions YouTube channel. Also available, but you can just search up TG Productions to find it. And when it comes to Keikaku Corner, if you want the audio versions and you don't really care about the video versions, you can go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/TGProductions, to get the audio editions of them there. However, these podcasts are still available for free on our Blog Talk Radio and on our, iTunes and on our YouTube channel. Now, if you want to see us play fun video games, also hear me talk about gaming news, and also see some fun reviews and a bunch of other fun, interesting gaming-related stuff, you can go over to our Those Guys Play YouTube channel, search up Those Guys Play, and you can find it there. And also when it comes to our Patreon, it's not just about getting either the Matt Rants, which is where I talk about gaming news, on our, the audio versions of those, or the audio version of Keikaku Corner or Toku Station, or even the Toku Station reviews, where I review different tokusatsu. Yes, you can get those depending on which tier you go to at our Patreon, but on our Patreon you can also get some other cool stuff as well. You can basically you can have different Q&As that we'll have either on our Those Guys on the Radio YouTube channel or Those Guys Play. And also, depending on which tier you give to, you can actually tell us, hey, we want you to do a video on this or a video on that. So it could be a video about either a Let's Play, or it could be about a gaming, news topic that you want Tristan and I to do a deep dive into. It can also be a review of some type or something like that, either for the podcast or otherwise. It could be a top 5, a top 10, something like that. It could really be anything. Of course, we have to sign off on it as well, but we can talk about that once it gets to that point. And also, you can buy some T-shirts as well. If you want to know where to buy our T-shirts, you can go to our main website. And also, by the way, get all the different things that we're doing, all the updates on that stuff on our main website, tgproduction.net. Although if you want to get the merchandise, tgproduction.net/merchandise. We are moving it over to our TeePublic account, which is also available through our social media as well. And if you want to follow us on all the different social media accounts, we have a bunch of different ones. We have our Facebook, facebook.com/ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio. We have our Instagram, which is Instagram.com/ThoseGuysOnTheRadio. Have to update that, but we do have an IGTV account that is called TG Productions, where you can get our backlog of stuff there as well. If you're a fan of IGTV, we are there. Instagram TV, Tristan, it's the future. And it's the future. And also we have some more videos on our Facebook account as well. Like I mentioned earlier, facebook.com/ThoseGuysOnTheRadio. So thank you all so much. You can find us anywhere and everywhere. We're everywhere, Tristan. We're spreading.
Oh, God.
All right. Good night, Tristan. He's so excited. He's tucked it out from the confusion. What?
I'm going to destroy my phone like that VHS tape in the movie so that the curse does not spread. And then it will anyway. And I'll just... No, wait. We wanted to go out on a good note.
Fuck.
Goodbye,
Happy Halloween.
everyone.
Happy
Yay.
Halloween. Goodbye. I hope you like the confusion.